Hi, so in this video we are going to learn about Pascal's triangle. Actually with this video I'm going to start a series on Pascal's triangle. So in this video we are going to learn how to construct a Pascal triangle, and we will also learn one or two basic properties of Pascal's triangle. And in later videos we will be learning some more properties of Pascal's triangle. So first let us learn how to construct a Pascal triangle. So the first element of the Pascal's triangle is 1. This is actually called row 0, and all other elements in this row are actually zeros. So I'm just writing 3 zeros on the left side and zeros on the right side, and this is called row 0 of Pascal's triangle, right? And after this, all other rows of the Pascal's triangles can be constructed. So when we write the numbers of the next row, all the numbers will be written in this position so that you have two numbers above that number, right? So these will be the new positions of the new numbers. See, if I write a number, that will be related to these top two numbers, right? Similarly, this number will be related to these two numbers. And if I talk about this number, this will be related to these two numbers, right? And how it is related? These numbers are the sum of top two numbers. So if I talk about the number which will come in this place will be actually 0 plus 0, 0. And this number will be 0 plus 0, 0. And what will this number be? This number will be 0 plus 1, 1. This number will also be 1 plus 0, 1. And this will be 0 plus 0, 0, right? So this will be the row 1 of the triangle. First row is called row 0 and the second row is called row 1 of the triangle. And now if I follow the same rule, here I'll get a 0, right? 0 plus 1 will give us 1 over here. 1 plus 1 will give us 2 over here. 1 plus 0 will give us 1 over here. 0 plus 0 will give us 0. But you may say that this is actually not in the shape of a triangle, right? The Pascal's triangle is actually formed by all these non-zero numbers. So if I remove all these zero numbers, this is the Pascal's triangle. So this is a tiny part or the tip of the Pascal's triangle. You can continue constructing this triangle. So this was the row 2. And now if I talk about the next row will be 1 plus 0 will give you 1, and 1 plus 2 will be 3, 2 plus 1 will be 3, and the last number will also be 1, right? So this will be row 3, right? So what can you say? Yes, every row actually starts with 1. So if I talk about the fourth row, the first element of the fourth row will also be 1, and 3 plus 1 will be 4. 3 plus 3, 6, 3 plus 1 will be 4, and the last number will again be 1. So you can continue constructing this triangle, and yes, it is an infinite triangle, right? So let me replace this by a properly drawn picture of Pascal's triangle, and then we will discuss the properties and terms of Pascal's triangle. So let me erase this. Yes, I have replaced that triangle with this properly drawn triangle. The first element of each row is actually called the 0th element, right? Or you can say each row in Pascal's triangle starts with 0th element. So this is the 0th element of the 0th row, this is the 0th element of the first row, and this is the 0th element of the second row, and this is the 0th element of the third row, and so on, right? The topmost row of the Pascal's triangle is called row number 0, and the row below that is called row number 1. Then we have row number 2, row number 3, row number 4, and so on. And each row starts with 0th element, and 0th element of each row is equal to 1, right? And how do we construct Pascal's triangle? Yes, each element in the Pascal's triangle is actually the sum of the two elements which are resting above this. So if we talk about this 10 is nothing but the sum of 4 and 6, right? And this 15 is nothing but the sum of 10 and 5, right? So this is how we construct Pascal's triangle, and how we refer an element in the Pascal's triangle. And after this, we are going to discuss few properties of the Pascal's triangle, right? So let me erase all this. So the property is actually related to the sum of the elements in each row. So if I talk about the 0th row, the sum of its elements is actually 1 plus nothing gives us 1. So this was the 0th row, and this is the first row, and the last one is actually the 7th row, right? And for the second row, we have two elements, and sum of these two elements is 1 plus 1, 2. And if I take the second row, there are three elements, 1, 2, and 3, and 1 plus 2 plus 1 will give us 4. Similarly, if I add all the elements of the third row, 1 plus 3 is 4, 4 plus 3 7, 7 plus 1, this gives us 8 as the sum. And if I add all the elements of fourth row, I'll get the sum as 16, right? And if I add all the elements of this row is 32, right? And if I add all the elements of the sixth row, I'll get 64 over here. And if I add all the terms of this seventh row, I'll get 128, right? So what is this? Sum of the first row is actually the double of the sum of the 0th row, right? And sum of the second row is actually the double of the sum of the first row, right? Or if you write it, this actually can be written as 2 to the power 0, and this can be written as 2 to the power 1. 4 can be written as 2 to the power 2. 8 can be written as 2 to the power 3. And sum of all the elements of fourth row is actually 16, which can be written as 2 to the power 4. And similarly, the sum of the elements of fifth row is 2 to the power 5, right? And the 64 is nothing but 2 to the power 6. And 128 is nothing but 2 to the power 7. So from here, we can say that sum of all the elements of a particular row is actually equal to 2 to the power n, where n is equal to row number, right? And now I think you can understand from here that why we call the first row of the triangle as 0th row and the second row as the first row. This is the one reason. And after this video, we are having few more videos, and in next video we are going to talk about the magic of 11 in this Pascal's triangle. So watch that video, and bye bye till then.